I think we're back with 3 now. Back
Yeah.
from our break with 3.
Ready?
Yep.
Oh, there it goes.
Yep. There we go. Coming
Yeah.
back with 3.
So when Parker first told me about this relationship, right away I started seeing red flags, and I was really worried that me communicating to him the way I communicated, he wouldn't see those red flags.
Yeah.
And that is when I got slapped in the face with the aha moment that, hey, you taught him how to be abused. You taught
Oh.
him that. I taught him that. I taught him how to be abused. And now I have to figure out a way to make sure that he is well aware of that and doesn't fall for it, because, then that's how generations of abuse start and
Oh.
continue. And I do everything in my power to stop abuse. I don't want
Well,
my children.
the great thing about everything is that there is a tomorrow, and
Yes.
tomorrow is a fresh start.
Yes.
And when we can recognize things, we can do over.
Yep. Yep.
And and I think that is the best part of being redeemed, is that we recognize it and can talk about it. And I've had talks with my kid, and I think that generationally, I mean, I had talks with my dad too,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, I don't kids don't expect their parents to be perfect.
No, they don't.
And I don't my kid doesn't expect me to be perfect either.
Nope.
And but I know without a shadow of a doubt, and they've actually told me that my kids have told me that I'm the best parent they could have ever wished for. Now, they know what a shitty parent is
Yes.
because they've had one.
Yes. Yes.
And so I'm very grateful that I was able to come from a shitty background
That's my greatest joy.
and was able to pull myself out of that and provide them with a good life.
Mm-hmm.
And so, despite my mistakes, hey, I just posted the other day about mistakes. I made lots of them. You know what?
All the time. Every day.
But you know what? I've not lived a boring life.
Yep.
I've
Yep.
made lots of mistakes and I've learned from them.
Yep. And you know what? My greatest accomplishment, my greatest joy is knowing that we came from the horrors, and I do mean horrors. I mean, you tell a normal person the stuff that we experienced, and they're just like, so it's horrors. So the fact that I have raised, or I have helped raise, a total of 5 children, and they are all good members of society and product members of society. And yes, none of them are perfect, but all of them are working towards bettering themselves in some way, shape, or form, and have the ability and the mind capability and strive to continue to make themselves better and make the universe better. And to come from where we came from and to have done that, I don't care what anybody says, but I struck gold. And
Yeah.
I got an A++ on that bitch.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I absolutely
And
do.
your
Yep.
youngest is what?
Huh?
How old is your youngest?
My biological youngest is 17.
Okay.
And then
So,
I have 3
about that.
stepkids, which, oh my gosh, I love them like they're my own.
Yes.
And I'm very, very, very grateful that I was able to help raise them for a portion of their lives.
Yes. You would have touched their lives no matter what. You will always, you put a fingerprint on them in some way, shape, or form, no matter what anybody says.
Yep.
And I know that anybody or any child that comes back to me, there will always be a positive. Do you understand what I'm saying? There'll never be a negative. And if
Yeah.
the negative, I will be open to hear that negative, and I will be open to understand that negative. I will not be defensive. I will not be judgmental, and I will be apologetic and try to understand it, not only from their point of view, but also where I went down wrong and where my communication broke down, where I was not able to do the job that I intended to do. And
I think that's really all that
any of us can ask for.
any of us want is like an apology, like a heartfelt one. Like
Yes.
I've gotten these half-ass apologies, like I'm sorry, but then like it's followed with, but I was,
Yes. No.
but
I'm
this
talking.
says, but okay, well, don't follow an apology with an excuse because I know all the excuses.
Yes. Yes.
I already know them.
And just like, for example, me saying calling myself an abuser to Parker, me calling myself an abuser to my son lets him know that that is abuse. That lets him know that I understand. You
That you
understand
get
what
it.
I'm saying?
That you
That
get
I
it.
did, and it didn't matter that he triggered it. It didn't matter that I had a good excuse for doing what I did. It didn't matter that I didn't know any better. None of that stuff mattered. None of it. To
Because he
him,
was the kid.
yes. And I'm sorry, but that's my responsibility. I cannot put my shit on my children. That's not their job to take care of me. It's my job to take care of them. Um, and so yes, when I went to apologize to Parker, it was, I am so sorry that I was so verbally abusive to you. And not only was I verbally abusive, but I mean, I threw some shit at that boy. If he didn't duck, I would have been in the emergency room with like stitches and shit. Like, because I'd see
Good
red.
thing is cat-like reflexes.
Yes. And, there's more than once where he went, and it was because he had gone like that really fast or down really fast or, jumped out of the way really fast of something that went hurling across the house out of my hand because he said something that triggered me. And I just went from 0 to red in a split second. And it took me, I would say, a good 2 solid years. I mean, there was one time, I'm not kidding, Alex and Wyatt were sitting on the couch watching me and I was vibrating. I was shaking so bad. My whole body was vibrating and I am screaming at Parker to get out of my house. Get out of my house. I'm like, my whole body. I let a teenager, a small child who was, well, at that time, he had to have been, I don't know, 15, 16. I let a kid that age get me so out of control that I was vibrating. That's the only way I can describe my head, my arms, my whole body. I was so mad. And I couldn't speak. I was just like spitting and like that. Parker standing there looking at me with big eyes, like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Like, you're crazy. Your head literally spun around a couple of times. And We don't know who this person is standing here. And here I am yelling at him to get out of my house. I mean, talk about deja vu, right?
Mm-hmm.
Talk about deja vu. I mean, what else can I say? I did exactly to Parker what was done to me. Maybe not on the scale of, what was done to me, but I replayed those markers to a T. That's how abuse continues. That's how it continues. And so I had to, when Parker made the comment to me that I treat Wyatt and Alex different than I treated him, I had to stop and think, because right away I got defensive, and right away I was like, that's not true. And then Brant goes, it's true. And I had to stop, and I had to think, and I had to reanalyze and put my compass back into order. And when I did that, it was true. It was, and I apologize. I've apologized to Parker quite a few times now, and he keeps, will you stop apologizing? But I just feel so bad and so awful that I let myself be so abusive to somebody when I swore I would never be like that. You know what I mean? And
I
it
know.
happened so fast, and just but that's what I mean by first children. Poor first children. First children get the blunt of what we experienced as children in abuse. Like, they almost get like the softer version of it in a way. I feel like sometimes. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because so what I experienced in my teenage years, I kind of delivered back to Parker in many ways. By the way I talked to him, by the way I interacted with him a little bit.
I think it could also depend on how much you recognize its dysfunction.
That's true. That's very true too.
I mean, because I mean, as a teenager myself, I remember like being forced to kneel at Rama's feet in a meeting, and I remember that clicking in my head that I was never going to allow my kids to, like.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So, I mean, even though I was strict and militant, I don't know that I would call it.
And honestly, I don't even think that I knew I had those triggers until he became a teenager and started talking like that. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I didn't even realize that those things would trigger me, or that I had those issues, or that any of that stuff would even bother me. You understand what I'm saying? Because he hit teenagers. Well, you know how the kids go through all of these different growth spurts and stuff. And, him being a teenager, when teenage boys get to be as big as their moms or the female adult in their life, they have this tendency to puff out their chest, and and for
They
me,
do?
uh-huh, and
My sons didn't do that.
really,
Mm-hmm.
they wouldn't come up and stand next to you and say, what are you doing, Mom? How's it going, Mom? They never did any. All my kids did that. All three of my boys do that.
Wow.
Alex, not nearly as much as the other two, but Parker used to do it a lot, and that was a trigger for me. I Teenage boys coming into my personal space, being very authoritative, and that triggered
It might be because they're aware already that angry males are instant panic trigger for me.
That could be.
And they've known that since they were little.
And see it. Well, I didn't know that myself.
Mm-hmm. Instant trigger for me.
Yeah. And I didn't know that about myself. And that was something that Parker taught me. And I also didn't realize that my trauma was as severe as yes, it wasn't. I didn't realize that the trauma was as severe as it was because I used to think that there were certain aspects of my life my trauma wouldn't touch. And the older I've gotten, the more I've realized that my trauma has impacted every aspect of my life, every single aspect.
I know.
And
It sucks.
yes, it does. But thinking that there are certain portions where it can't touch, I didn't heal properly, or I didn't put safeguards in to make sure that I had the proper boundaries. So when it came to my kids, I never thought that I would be the abuser. I
Mm.
never thought that I would be abusive. I never thought that I would do those kind of things. I never thought that I would be a screamer. I the the day that I clenched my teeth and I was like, I am going to. When I did that, it was Sarah, or my biological mother to a T, and it hit me in the face. I never ever thought I would ever do that. And that is when the aha moment hit me, that I had to put safeguards in place so that way I wouldn't become the abuser, because I already had.
Oh my God.
And it was by yelling.
You opened your mouth and your mother fell out.
Yes,
I've
to
done
the
that.
T.
I've
To the
opened my
T.
mouth and I've gone, oh my gosh, my mother just came out.
Yep. 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 And
I
so
mean,
it's,
what are you gonna do about it?
you can't. No. And
You're
you know what? I tell my kids, so like I tell Parker, Parker, use this as an example. You're going to mess up with your children. Your children are going to trigger things in you that you didn't know were issues. And so, as long as you're able to communicate good with your children and you have this open dialogue, then these things won't become an issue and they won't become a hindrance to you guys. It will just be a part of history and something that you just ha ha about later on. And it's teaching your children then how to communicate with their children. And this is a healthy relationship. So, I never knew what a healthy relationship was with another child before. A child, you know what I mean? Like an adult child relationship. I didn't know what a healthy one is. I'm learning it. And I said, thank you, Parker, for being the first one as the guinea pig. I appreciate it. I know you are. And, kudos to you for, being the guinea pig. Um, but it's made my relationship with them so much easier and so much nicer and non-defensive, I guess. And my children now realize that I accept them as people
yeah.
and as just they're my children, but I accept them as individual beings. Like, they're each different, they're each unique, they're each have their own pros and cons kind of thing. And
Like I think that a lot of my parenting was just remembering the things that wounded me and to either do or not do those things no
yeah,
matter, and just putting myself aside so much for my kids,
yep, yep, yep,
you
yep,
know
yeah. I think
like when, like, I don't even I like watching what I say,
yes,
like watching what I say in moments when your children disappoint you. Like,
yes,
your children already know that they've disappointed you. The moment they have to come to you, they already know.
that they, yes,
They
yes,
already know. You
yes,
don't have to reinforce it.
nope, nope, nope.
They already know.
They already know. They already feel it. They
What they
already,
need, what they need is reassurance that you love them anyway.
yes,
They
yes,
don't need reinforcement that you're a fuck up.
yes, yes. 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 That is something that I strongly tell them. Anything. If there's anything, don't be afraid to come and tell me. Yes,
Yep.
you'll be embarrassed. Yes, I know you'll be ashamed. You should be. All those things you should be. But still come to me. Let me know. I will guide you. I will give you advice. I can't tell you what to do, but I can advise you. I can tell you what my opinion is. I can set you in the right course, put the right people in front of you to give you the things that you need. Or
Same.
if you
Same.
don't agree with me, I will send you in a direction that isn't even my opinion or what I agree with, but somebody I know that it will be healthy for you. So if
Yep.
something happens, like, say Jesse or one of the kids, like Wyatt comes to me,
Yeah.
my girlfriend's pregnant. Okay, all right. It's your girlfriend. So I personally do not have the ability to say blah, blah, blah. My hands are kind of tied in this situation, but I will be able to say to you, well, did you talk to her parents? Did you, what are the options? What are your options? What are these
Yeah.
options? Did you think about this? Did you think about that? And
Or talk to him before.
well, that I always do that. Shit,
Like,
that boy, there is no way that boy can say, "Well, I didn't know what a condom was." He knows where
no,
condoms
you know what?
are in
Or
every single
talk
store.
like I have conversations with my kid, my oldest son about, okay, you know what her parents do? Like, the parents is a doctor, the mom is a pharmacist. If you get this girl pregnant, your life is fucked.
Yep. Yeah,
Keep
well,
that in mind.
not only that, but so Parker was an older kid in high school, because he got held back in second grade. So he had to be. I'm like, dude, your senior year, you're not allowed to date. You can't. You just can't. You're an older kid. You just, it's too sticky.
Like, in this day and age, you just have to be blunt and honest, especially with your sons. Because your sons, I'm sorry to say, but your sons, especially now when you can go back and charge your son with rape at any point in their life.
Yep.
Okay.
Isn't it scary? I mean,
Yeah.
I understand why they have rules and I understand that, but I feel
do. I do. Coming from our background, absolutely.
Yeah.
I do. I understand why they need to have that. And thank the Lord that they have that. But then for us who have to raise those boys.
Yep, we have to make sure that they're aware.
You know what I've taught my son? Get a freaking picture of the front and back of their driver's license.
Yeah.
If they've been drinking at all, don't go anywhere with them.
Yep.
Put them in a freaking cab or Uber and take a picture of the car.
Yeah, and with them in it.
With them in it.
Yep, I know. It's so
Don't
sad.
go anywhere with them. The chivalrous thing to do now is to get in it, put them in a car and take a picture of them in it. Don't go anywhere with them. Don't have sex with them.
Yep. Yep, I know. I tell my boys
get consent on video.
I know. You have to protect yourself beyond belief.
I know.
Because there are the girls that like.
And you know how my brain thinks. You know how my brain thinks.
Well, Parker is not experienced. And he is very trusting. He is.
Yeah, you better break him of that.
Gullible, but he is gullible. And you get a girl who is a little bit more worldly and younger, and man, she could swindle that boy so fast it's not even funny. And I'm like, Parker, but she's so pretty, mama. She's so pretty. And I'm like, I don't care if she's pretty. Like,
it's the pretty ones that'll get you every time.
Yep, I know.
Just because they're pretty on the outside doesn't mean they're pretty on the inside.
Yes. You know how many times I say that to him? And he's like, I know. But Parker could be taken advantage of
I
so
know.
easily. And I tell him all the time, babe, I know I shouldn't be telling you this because but I don't want you to get swindled.
I
And
know.
happens all the time. So, do I want you to be doubtful? No, I don't want you to be doubtful, but I want you to be aware of
Smart.
the things that can happen.
I'm
And,
smart.
yes, that's like saying, um, that's like me thinking that my husband can never cheat on me.
I know.
Really? My husband can cheat on me tomorrow. He can cheat on me tonight. He
Yeah.
can even go anywhere he wants and he can cheat on me. Now, do I think that he will? No, I don't think that he will. Do I live my life with that thought in my brain all the time that he's going to cheat? No, I choose not to live my life that way. But if I were sitting here thinking my husband will never cheat on me, the moment it happens, I will be so devastated that I won't be able to live my life. And that's living a lie to myself instead of, that's putting blinders on and putting myself in a little tiny bubble and like living in my little bubble when that's not reality. And the moment you put yourself in a bubble, you don't see the red flags.
Mm-hmm.
And when you don't see the red flags, the exact same things that you're trying to keep yourself in the bubble for is going to happen to you because you weren't aware of reality. You
So
were
I have this. I also have to like teach my kid the other side too, like how to not,
treated,
yeah, like to
be respectful,
absolutely.
not
And
use
like
them.
to how to like how to treat the girl's mother, how to treat the girl's father, how
Yes.
to address them. Like
Yes.
these are things that he's learning from me. He's not learning them from his father.
No. No. Yes. Yes.
But he's
I'm very
but these are
fortunate
things that I'm teaching them. Who taught them to me?
to be learned on our own.
We learned them by myself. I learned them by myself.
Yeah.
You know who
Well, I
taught
learned.
my do you know who taught my brothers about domestic violence and
Mom.
how you're not supposed to beat your girlfriends?
Oh,
Me.
that shit still goes on. There's men out.
Because we saw that as children in our own home when we saw it, and when I say I raised children, I'm telling you, I raised children.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess if you say it that way, yes. I. But yeah, no, I don't know. I don't remember. There's a lot of things like I was the only. I was the oldest girl at home, so I was stuck at home taking care of everybody while everybody else went to school. So I did the cleaning, the cooking. I woke my older brothers up, got them on the bus first because their bus came first, and then I would get everybody else up under me. And then I would stay home until like the kindergartners or the kid one that was in kindergarten would go to kindergarten. And I'd be stuck home with the baby until everybody got home from school. And then, I would start laundry, whatever it may be. So I was mom. But I also know at that time I was so overwhelmed with like everything that was going on in my little world on top of that I don't know if raising would be the right word. You understand what I'm saying?
You were
But
there in case there was a fire.
yes. Yes. You know, because I remember trying to potty train Avi and not being able to, just because at that time I was going through with Eldred and I was having a mental breakdown, I think, at that time because my body was telling me something so differently than what I knew was right. And it really confused me during that time. And of course, I had just hit puberty. So my little body was going through all kinds of
I
things.
think that overall, though, I think most of us kids who have raised kids we've done a really good job outside.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
we've all mostly have. I can't even think of one of us that hasn't done a good job.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, yeah, all my nieces and nephews are, if there was trauma in their life, the parent is taking everything to correct it
Mm-hmm.
and doing everything in their power to make sure that that child is taken care of
Yeah.
in the long run. And none of them are left high and dry like we
Mm-hmm.
were.
Right. Right.
So yes, that way I do have to say, I am very impressed and proud of all of my siblings. Well, not even just siblings. I would see even everybody that's kind of out of the cult in raising
Yeah.
children. They
Yeah.
all seem
That's what I'm saying.
of, you're not going to abuse my children. And
Absolutely. That's what I'm
they,
saying.
the kids might get abused not intentionally because of things like
Like
yelling,
us, like we
and
yell
yeah,
at them,
yes, yes.
but nothing to the extent, nothing even remotely close to the extent of what we've ever been, that we were ever.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Nope, the worst thing that Wyatt ever got done, I'd say the worst punishment I ever gave out to anybody was when Wyatt was, he was the worst. He was like 6 years old. No, 7 years old. He was on the front porch and he went, "What the fuck?" And I went, and I walked out there and I sat down next to him and I said, "Hey, listen, bud, that's a really bad word. You can't say that word." "Why? You say it." "Yep, you're right. Mama's wrong to say it and I shouldn't say it. And just because mama says it and mama does what's wrong doesn't mean that you get to. You're a kid."
Do it as I say, not as I do.
Yes, exactly. And he went, "Okay, mama." I said, "So do you understand?" I said, "Now, if you say this bad word again, if mama hears you say this bad word again," I was like, "you're going to get your spanking." And I said, "Mama's going to pull your pants down and spank you on your bare butt." I said, "You're going to get soap in your mouth and you're going to have to stand in the corner for 6 minutes." If he was 6 years old, because I did a minute for each age. And he went, "Okay, mama." And I stood up, turned around, walked into, and as the screen door closed, I heard him go, "Fuck." Very quietly, almost faintly underneath his breath, just enough where he wanted to see if he could get away with it. Well, I whipped around and I said, "Excuse me." And I picked his little bottom up over my knee. He went right there in the doorway. Down came his pants. I smacked his butt 3 times. My hand, I walked him into the kitchen. "Stick out your tongue." Put dish soap on his tongue, and I put him in the corner and he cried. Oh, he cried. Oh, he cried. "Mama, just give me another spanking, please, mama. Please, mama, another spanking." I was like, "No." And then after the 6 minutes, he was like, oh, and then I had a glass of milk waiting for him, and because I was crying, because I was upset that I had spanked him, because that was something that I had tried
Hey, you're mean. I let my kids swear.
Well, I don't tell them now that they can't swear. I tell them they can't use the language so my rule in the house was, you can swear if you have the ability to control your tongue when you are in a room full of people you should not swear in front of. So if you use the Lord's name in vain, for an example,
Oh,
so much that you're not even aware that you are saying it, it is
Yeah.
bad. Okay? So therefore, you are not allowed to say the Lord's name in vain around the house. The word shut up. My mom hates that word.
Shut up, really?
Yeah, she can't stand that word. It was an evil word in our house. We were not allowed to say shut up to one another. Us kids, siblings, were not allowed to say shut up to. It's still a bad word to me. Like, it's like worse to say shut
Hey,
up
our time is up.
than the F word. She, you said time was up? Or
Yeah,
30
our time is up for tonight.
Okay, yeah. I say we can just like be good or whatever. I forget what I was saying.
I know. We were just talking anyway. We were just talking about swear words.
Yeah.
Well, it was a good night. I'm glad we talked about this stuff. It was a good topic.
Yeah. It was.
Well, until next time.
All of us need to be aware of, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sneak up and we can become abusers without even knowing that we're being the abusers.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Until next time.
Yeah.
I'll see you next time.